This week in Beyond the Headlines, mixed reactions to plans for Craft Alive Market.
I don't have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. I have no comment. I'll just wait and see.
We don't have, when we go over there, we wouldn't have this kind of burden that to lift up stuff in the morning, carry out stuff in the morning and bring them back in the afternoon. So it will be a very ease. It will be a very good ease for the old, especially the older ones.
As long as them people who are coming from over, they behave themselves because they ain't got no behavior. And I want to know whether I'm going room in here for all of them.
For several years now, vendors at both the Craft Alive Center as well as the cruise ship Pier have been complaining about the less than perfect conditions that they've had to operate under. Now, government has made plans to revitalize the Craft Alive market to include not only those who work here, but those at the cruise ship Pier as well. However, there have been mixed reactions from the vendors as to how this will actually work out and what benefit it will bring not only to them, but to the entire territory. The issue of relocating the vendors from the cruise ship Pier to the Craft Alive market is not a new one. In October of 2009, Vice President of the Vendors Association, Alison Tudman, had spoken to JTV News and explained that the vendors had come together after receiving a letter from government just a week before the opening of the tourism season on Friday, October 9th, in which they were given a deadline to relocate their booths to the Craft Alive Center. That deadline was Thursday, October 8th. Up until then, Tudman said that the vendors had been operating from the cruise pier for the past 9 years. She also told JTV News some of the concerns she and other vendors had about moving to the market.
The place down Craft Alive, it is not adequate for people to go there because some of us are to the back of the tents and by the gut, over septic tank, bathroom, and the grass is full of ants. The whole yard is full of ants, and we have to put up and take down pop-up tents. We are old people. We cannot undergo with that kind of situation because you have to take down in the morning, put up in the evening, and tug your stuff them in and out. We are people who is 50 and over 50, over 60 here, and that is unreasonable. And the place down there is not appropriate. It will be too congested.
But a year and a half later, the vendors at the cruise ship Pier continue to operate their business from their tents as they have in the past. Yet, talks had started to circulate that the main reason for the decision to relocate the vendors to another spot was that there were complaints about the appearance of the tents when approaching the pier, and the complaints were coming from the captains on board cruise ships visiting the territory. This concern was given even more credibility on Monday, April 2nd, when Minister for Communication and Works, Honorable Mark Van Der Poel, held a meeting with the vendors of the cruise ship Pier as well as the Craft Alive Center at the Moorings Conference Room to discuss plans to improve the Craft Alive market. Minister Van Der Poel said that while attending this year's FCCA meeting in Miami, he was informed by the various cruise ship operators that passengers have commented on the negative appearance of the tents when approaching the pier.
I attended the the FCCA meeting. This is their private meeting that they have every month. They invited me to join them in Miami along with the chairman of the Tourist Board of Operations in February. And while we were there, all of the leaders of the cruise ship companies were there, invited me to dinner. And after we ate all the good steaks, they got down to business and began to tell me very directly the good things about the BVI and the bad things. And that followed the next day when they had their formal general meeting where they had hosted me as their guest. And that's when they really tell me the good things about the BVI and the bad things in no uncertain terms. And needless to say, one of the not so good things was that when the cruise passengers arrive, they don't like the appearance of the BVI when they arrive into the BVI. And that's a first impression. And it's not a good impression. And it's not like I didn't expect to hear that, but I wanted them to have an audience with me and to tell me, get it off their chest, so to speak. And so they did.
Honorable Van Der Poel went on to state that although they were willing to hear the vendors' questions and concerns about the way forward, government had already made a decision to do something about the matter.
We believe that this is a time in the economy worldwide, and especially in the Virgin Islands, that we as a government need to take the initiative to spur the economy. And the two areas that we're working on very quickly, that's the cruise ship port and the airport development. And there are discussions. We are very open on the matter. We are letting everyone know what we're trying to do. And if one has, those of you who have comments and issues and concerns, we are open-minded to hear them. And therefore, we are here to do that. And tonight is one such night. It's a decision that we have made. The decision is clearly that the activity at the cruise ship port has to be changed. We can't continue like that.
Present at the meeting was Evelyn Potter of AR Potter and Associates Limited, the architect for the proposed revitalized Craft Alive market. Potter went through with the attendees at Monday's meeting what the planned improvements and changes were for the Craft Alive market project, which she demonstrated would include 5 new buildings, additional restrooms, an amphitheater with stage for performances and cultural events, and more.
We are proposing 5 new buildings and 5 additions to some of the existing buildings. We also have 23 vendor spaces existing. We are proposing an additional 39 new vendor spaces. We also have some restroom facilities existing. Of course, we are proposing to upgrade and increase those restroom facilities in order to accommodate the additional persons that not only will be vendors, but the additional people that will be coming to the market as a result of the additional vendors. We are proposing an outdoor amphitheater with a modest-sized stage. We are also proposing to construct or to have constructed an exhibition area for traditional BVI fishing paraphernalia. I think Mr. Vanterpool spoke a little bit about that, where we would have fish pots and traditional fishing boats and things like that on display, something like a small outdoor museum where people can get a sense of what life was like in the territory for BVI landers some time ago. Now, what we're looking at right now is a view of Crafts Alive that I think most of us should be familiar with. It is the view at the entrance to the Crafts Alive market. This view will remain virtually unchanged. We have the trees, they will remain exactly where they are. We are not taking any of these trees down. The buildings that run along this area here will remain. A lot of the landscaping, everything will remain, probably just a little bit of upgrading to the landscaping, as well as maybe a few coats of paint and some other maintenance issues that have to be taken care of. Probably just maybe cleaning the sidewalks and things like that. But this view will remain unchanged. There are no additions that are going to really dominate or to change this particular view. So people coming into Crafts Alive, whether they came in last year or they come in 2 years from now, this view is going to be the same thing. So we're not doing anything major to the interior of the Crafts Alive facility. And I spoke a little bit earlier about the amphitheater that we're proposing. This area that you're seeing here will be the outdoor amphitheater. The big round thing that you're seeing here is going to basically be the stage that we're proposing to have.
The question, though, is what are the vendors' thoughts on government's plans for the project? JTV News spoke with the vendors at the cruise ship pier and found that the majority of them were comfortable with the proposal, as it would allow them to have a more secure and comfortable place from which to operate.
I think it's a very good idea because, you know, every time we come down here, we have to put out, we got to take up and pack in and pack out. And when the rain come in, you have to pull down the side of the tent, and the tent, they mash up so fast. You know, every minute you have to buy a new tent, so that's a good idea. You know, when you go in a little place, you just lock your door and you go about your business. So it's a very good idea, and it's about time.
It is not a bad idea.
So you'd be willing to move over to?
Well, sure, yes. No problem, sure. Whatever the government want to do.
Well, we don't have, when we go over there, we wouldn't have this kind of burden that to lift up stuff in the morning, carry out stuff in the morning and bring them back in the afternoon. So it will be a very ease. It will be a very good ease for the old, especially the older ones. Yes.
It's a good idea. It's a good idea because, you know, and that concerning the roads and the area to walk, and they'll give you a transport, the allowance to running through the fast, that people could walk.
However, not all the vendors were willing to express their thoughts on the matter. The president for the Vendors Association, who in the past was vocal about government's plans to move them to Craft Alive, simply said she had nothing to say about the project.
Mister, I stopped think long time ago. I don't have nothing to say. I have nothing to say. I have no comment. I'll just wait and see.
You'll be moving over?
I don't know. People dying so fast. I don't know. I might be dead and gone before time to move over.
But if you're alive?
That is yet to be seen. Have nothing to say.
JTV News also heard from the vendors at the Craft Alive Center, and there the reaction was even more mixed, as some saw the revitalization plan as a good idea, while others had their reserves, such as how the vendors coming in from the cruise ship pier would behave once they arrived at the market.
It's no problem, you know, as long as them people who are coming from over, they behave themselves, because they ain't got no behavior. And I want to know whether I'm going to room in here for all of them. But it's a good idea. Can't the guy move from there anyhow?
Well, I mean, we're trying to help because we all have to eat, you know, but it might be a little congested, but for right now, better can be done right now, you know. And I just hope that when they come, they behave themselves and try to treat the guests nice, the tourists nice and so, and show them what we have to offer, right? Until better can be done.
Government is set to hold a public meeting in the near future to discuss with the community their plans to revitalize the Craft Alive market. When the project does get underway, however, the biggest question seems to be how will all the vendors meet together and work in the same place? This is Walter Barrett, Beyond the Headlines.